Stadium. What should have been a moment of joy became a scene of panic, pain and preventable death. The Bengaluru Stampede was not merely an unfortunate incident, it was a failure of governance, planning and accountability. Instead of taking onus and punishing those responsible, the state government is now being seen shirking blame. From RCB fans to Karnataka cricket body, the Congress has blamed all except itself, except for acknowledging its own mistakes. As the tragedy unfolded, Congress was seen felicitating the RCB team inside. Photos of a smiling DK Shivkumar holding the IPL trophy and posing with the RCB team were widely circulated, garnering criticism and comments about the government's apathy. But today, while speaking to the media, the Deputy Chief Minister broke down, recounted how quickly the situation deteriorated and the urgency conveyed to him by the officials at the venue. He said he was unaware of what was happening outside as there were jammers in place. The Karnataka High Court has taken suo motu cognizance of this stampede and has asked the state government to submit a status report. The court pulling up the Congress government, saying the required protocols weren't followed. But the larger debate is, for everyone that wants to hail fans that come out and support you in thick and thin, aren't all those responsible for abandoning the fans when it comes to this inconvenience? So you talk of fans day in, day out, but forget them in tragedy and celebrate it inside while they were dying outside? We'll take that to our guests in just a bit. Now, in the aftermath of the devastating stampede, the Congress has absolved itself, blaming everyone else. The Chief Minister blamed the Karnataka cricket body, the KSCA, saying that they didn't organize the event. That is, the state government did organize the event. It was the state body that wanted to organize it. They were only meant to provide security. But here's the kicker, forgetting that it is exactly the security that went wrong. Then came the Deputy Chief Minister who blamed the fans, saying the cops cannot be blamed. It was the crowd that became uncontrollable. The man in charge for the state's law and order blamed the franchise. Home Minister said it was RCB and KSCA who wanted to host the event and all that the government did was to facilitate it. Again, he's forgetting that it's the government's job then to facilitate an event. It was poor management of this event that led to the loss of lives. Yes, you can hold others accountable too, but what about your own accountability? Listen in to the appalling defense that has been provided by several leaders of the Congress government while defending themselves.
Nobody has expected so much of crowd will come because the capacity of the stadium is only 35,000. But 2 to 3 lakh people have come to participate in the celebration.
We didn't make a request to the RCB or the KSCA. They organized this.
Yes, sir.
The part of it was government also felt that we also should facilitate them. That's all. After all, it is Bangalore, Bangalore team. The government also felt that let us be part of that celebration. That's all. Beyond that, we didn't ask we are going to do it. RCB and KSCA, they are the ones who brought the team to Bangalore.
Though it has happened very unexpectedly, we never expected, no one expected such a crowd. After 18 years, I don't know what was boiling in the youngsters. They all came.
So like always, a massive blame game has now erupted. Who is to be held accountable is the big question. So the state government, what is their role? They obviously overlooked safety. They participated in the event. They held one event at the Vidhana Soudha and they also continued participating in the bash. Their representative, the Deputy Chief Minister, was there at the stadium. Karnataka cricket body planned this bash despite there being hardly any time post the final and are responsible for the poor arrangements that were to be made even at their end around the stadium, inside the stadium. Royal Challengers Bengaluru, the franchise can also not shirk blame because they also pushed the parade online to their fans despite the fact that the government had announced a cancellation. They also took to social media to announce late passes for this bash. In the morning, the RCB handle had posted about a victory parade to be held in the evening. By the afternoon, the traffic police and the state home minister had already said that the victory parade is cancelled. But the RCB handle again egged fans to come out, saying that the victory parade would be held at 5 p.m. The traffic police conceded that there was utter confusion about the parade and even who could get inside. Their first message condoling the deaths only came 10 p.m. last night. It seemed to distance itself from the mayhem, claiming that things happened at multiple places in Bengaluru. No, the reality is the entire stampede happened at the stadium where they were asking fans to come. They even said that they changed their program and followed administration advice as if to wash their hands off from what happened. So the big question we asked today is simply this. Fans are partners in celebration. These franchisees, the state bodies, the governments all talk about the public. But haven't the fans been abandoned now in tragedy?
Heaps of footwear and other belongings lying outside gate number 21 of Chinnaswamy Stadium explains what transpired here yesterday. Multiple lapses that one can really point out. To begin with, how did 2 lakh people manage to get to this area of Bengaluru? Why were there no proper crowd control measures by the Bangalore police?
The Vidhana Soudha, the seat of power, saw its fair share of damage as people in a hurry to catch a glimpse of their marquee players and the stars of the RCB team, who were felicitated by the Karnataka government led by CM Siddaramaiah, have left the entire surroundings outside the Vidhana Soudha with a lot of damage.
One of the victims, survivors who I spoke to, spoke about how she got pushed completely by the people. She was flat on the ground and she had people walking all over her. And as she recounted her horrific story, she was talking about how she felt that if she was conscious for a minute more, she would have lost her life.
We're also getting some breaking updates coming in. Police has registered a case against 3 bodies now, including the RCB, the franchise, over the Bengaluru Stampede. Cubbon Park Police in Bengaluru have registered this FIR under Section 195. So there's a case that has been registered against DNA Network, which is a management company, the KSCA, which is the Karnataka State Cricket Association, and the RCB, the Royal Challengers Bangalore. A suo motu case has been registered by the Cubbon Park Police Station. My colleague Harish Upadhyay is also joining us. Not surprising this FIR should have been registered. But even as the government registers this FIR, the police registers this FIR, questions will again be asked. What about the accountability of the government's own?
Absolutely. Remember, this FIR is for negligence and other related sections against Karnataka State Cricket Academy, the RCB and DNA, the event managers in this case. But the aspect that one has to note here is, will the magisterial probe that's currently underway look at whether the officials had any role to play in this lapse, one, and who are those officials? Can this magisterial probe that is headed by the Bengaluru Urban DC has the enough wherewithal to summon somebody like a Deputy Chief Minister or a Senior Minister, if indeed there is enough proof to suggest that there was pressure from within the government to not asking the police to not oppose having this event at Vidhana Soudha and at Chinnaswamy Stadium. That is the question that was raised even in the High Court today by several lawyers, asking whether this particular magisterial probe can nail or can probe senior officials and senior politicians in the government. The police probe right now will largely focus at the negligence that has happened at the stadium and the lapses that have happened at the stadium. So the question is, who will now build the cat? Who will go ahead and probe the politicians who might have pressurized the Bengaluru police to allow this event?
You know, the charges that the RCB, for example, Harish, is facing is that they ignored the fact that the cops were not ready for a victory parade, for example, or even these celebratory events. There are these letters that are doing the rounds. What has the police said to the RCB that the RCB allegedly ignored?
Well, for example, remember the first announcement came early in the morning that there would be a victory parade from Vidhana Soudha to Chinnaswamy Stadium. That is even before there was a clear-cut go-ahead from the Bengaluru police or the Karnataka government.
Yes.
Karnataka government was largely talking about a felicitation ceremony within the Vidhana Soudha premises. That was one problematic area. The second problematic area is the fact that despite the Home Minister coming out somewhere around noon and saying that there wouldn't be a procession, you had RCB continuously sending out communication that led to this problem to the fans. And that went on till even at 4:30 you had communication coming in from RCB suggesting that the parade is on.
Yeah.
So somewhere the police will ask RCB team management about it. The KSA will have to answer a lot on what happened at the entry gates. How many number of people are usually posted there, whether bouncers, other volunteers and other people who are recruited for match days, and how many were recruited or how many were deployed just for this particular event. And the fact that they did not let people enter even at 4, creating that chaos. What was the call, the logic behind that call, and also who are the ones who decided that? These are aspects that this particular FIR and the probe that will be based on it will look into.
All right, Harish, thanks a lot for joining us with that breaking update. Going across to our guest joining us, Siddharth Yadav is spokesperson of the BJP. Samruth Hegde is joining us from Karnataka Congress. Sonam Mahajan is activist and a Bengalurian herself. ND Mullah is former DCP crime of Karnataka Police. I do thank you all for joining us. Mr. Hegde, the question that will go to you is that you're filing FIRs against everyone else. Sure enough, I'm not saying that these bodies that you have booked are not culpable. Surely their role has to be established. They organized this event at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. But how could they have gone ahead without the complicity of the government? On top of that, the Deputy Chief Minister was inside the stadium when RCB was holding this felicitation. So how can you absolve yourself?
Firstly, I would like to express my heartfelt condolences to the families of those who have lost their lives. Without doubt, it's the most tragic and horrific incident and event. And in hindsight, there definitely should have been more meticulous planning and execution. With respect to accountability, yes, there has been announced a magisterial probe. There is an FIR, and in the High Court now there's a suo motu cognizance. We are open to any and all kind of investigation to show whether there was any dereliction of duty. It was the police officials, the cricketing authorities, and the state administration all in unison had multiple deliberations and found that we had the infrastructure and the personnel to organize the event at Vidhana Soudha, organized by the government, and at Chinnaswamy Stadium. As we know that there was a huge chaos and confusion regarding the ticketing, regarding the entry, and we had no expectation that over 2.5 lakh people would arrive there.
How can you not have that expectation? I'm sorry, how can you not have that expectation?
Definitely. No, definitely, we did not have this kind of expectation.
How can you not have that expectation? Then you don't have the pulse of the ground.
Because the stadium has a capacity of only 35,000 people.
Yes.
And they said that they would issue tickets for the same. And now suddenly they say all the entry is free. And then they post online. So I'm not trying to put a blame game here. The buck has to stop somewhere. I agree with you. And those accountable, whether it is in the government, whether it is in the administration, whether it is in the cricketing bodies, or whether it is in the team.
But there's no FIR on the government officials. How is there no FIR against DK Shivkumar, who was there at this event?
100%. And to explain about Mr. DK Shivkumar had no plan to go to the stadium. He had to take the KSE officials to take care of the situation at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. And I would like to clarify that the ceremony was only held because there were 35 to 40,000 people inside. There were around 1.5 lakh people outside. A decision had to be taken by the administration, by the bodies, that something had to be taken there. Otherwise, it could have been led to something more. There could have been more stampede. That was a collective decision taken by the bodies. And that there was a
then
limited
let's not have these excuses that we didn't know what was going on outside. Either what you are saying is true, or what DK Shivkumar said earlier today is true, that we didn't know what was happening outside. We did all the ceremony because we were not aware.
No, the ceremony was only a 10-minute ceremony.
It wasn't a 10-minute ceremony. These are facts that can be established by 8th standard students. Please, let's not do this. Let's not do this. This happened last evening. Memory is not that short. The event did not last just 10 minutes. That's an absolute lie on everybody's part. The event lasted much longer than that.
It was a 10-minute event and it was cut short because they had to be organized, and there were literally so many people that they had to manage the crowd and
so stick to one version. I have no problems if the government says, listen, we had 30,000-40,000 people inside, people still outside, we had to manage that crowd and assuage the crowd. I have no problems if you say that. But don't say you weren't aware of what was happening outside. Then you were aware of what was happening outside.
We were not aware with the sheer magnitude and the sheer enthusiasm of number of people who would
No,
turn
were
up
you
at the
aware?
point of
Was
time.
DK Shivkumar not aware? Was nobody in the stadium aware that 10 people had died outside by the time this event began?
No. That there was no establishment of deaths. People were carried. We knew that there were casualties. We knew that there were injuries.
So then you knew, right?
Prompt action were taken. Yes, but we did not have a number. We did not know the exact magnitude of the situation.
So if one person had died, it was okay.
At that time.
If one person or three people had died, it was okay to continue.
We did not have that kind of information. We needed to establish.
I'm confused. You haven't arrived at the version that you want to give out, I think, as the Congress party, because the chief minister and the deputy chief minister have said exactly the opposite things. DK Shivkumar, I have his bite. If you want, I'll play it out again. He has said we were not aware that there were deaths outside. When he was going into the stadium, he was asked by the media, sir, a stampede has happened.
Of course, we knew that a stampede had happened. We did not know that how many deaths had happened. We did not have assessed the situation of what had happened exactly.
The second in command of the government
but we knew,
does not know that. I'm sorry, I was anchoring at 6 p.m. yesterday. Mr. Hegde, I was anchoring at 6 p.m. yesterday. 11 deaths had been announced and confirmed by the media at 6 p.m. When this event was going on. Are you telling me the second in command of the government in Karnataka doesn't know? He doesn't have this much information of how many people have died? The media has this information.
I don't think you're able to understand that we had to organize a symbolic kind of event to assuage the people at that point of time.
I get what you're saying, but that's not what he said. He said we did not know that people had died. Am I supposed to believe that? No. I don't think anybody will believe that.
Again.
Not even if the RCB officials and RCB players were to say that they were not aware of what had happened outside when this felicitation was going on.
We did not know exactly what had happened. We still
sorry, if the second in command of the government doesn't know, then something is seriously wrong with the machinery in Karnataka.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, let me go across to Siddharth Yadav. Siddharth Yadav, the excuse is that, we didn't know what was happening outside, but also the fact that so many people came, we were not prepared for it, and this was all, done by somebody else. We were part of it. The government was part of it, was celebrating, was raising the trophy, was getting pictures clicked, and VIP people were sitting behind the RCB team. You think we don't know?
Shivani, first of all, my heart goes out to all the people, all the families who have lost their family members, to everybody who's still in the hospitals getting treated from what happened yesterday. Young people from aging between 13 to 33 have lost their lives. This is a tragedy which was, orchestrated in front of the government. The second in command of the government was present at the venue. The second in command of the government was celebrating while people were losing their lives outside. Nobody cared. When you say, and I'll answer both your points in point-wise, because this is so traumatizing for the entire country. When you say that 3 lakh people came there and we didn't know, 3 lakh people don't just come anywhere out of the air. 3 lakh people just suddenly don't appear on the roads. 3 lakh people come from places, 3 lakh people gather from places. The police is there in the city. The police has to know that the crowd is getting overcrowded. A lot of people are coming, and then you have to make arrangements. Police was there at the venue. It is just that the police was not ample. You did not make ample efforts because the government currently in Karnataka is obsessed with the politics between Siddaramaiah and DK Shivkumar. They do not care about when people lose their lives. They do not care about how people should be saved and protected from such cases. And that is why it is utmost failure of the state machinery what has happened there. This is point number 1. Point number 2, while you were inside, while you were celebrating, you were there at the venue. You get to know that there's a stampede. You get to know that people are losing their lives. What do? Do you enjoy? Do you celebrate inside a venue? You are the second in command of a government. You are running a government there. Under your watch, if this is happening outside the same venue where you are present, you get to action, you solve things.
First of all,
You
it had
did not
already
do
happened.
anything.
It wasn't happening. It had already happened.
Right.
The information was already
Absolutely.
there. By the time this event
Absolutely.
started, that people are losing their lives. Yes, the number could have been 5 or 6 or 7 at that time. That's irrelevant. But do you not concede, Mr. Yadav, that yes, at that point, the crowd was still inside. The government had, or the organizers had to do something. They couldn't have just said, oh, we're cancelling the event. That could have created restlessness in the crowd that was already there and the crowd that was still outside.
Shivani, the organizers would have to do what they have to do. I'm speaking about the government. The government was the present there. I'm not speaking about any local officials. I'm not speaking about any local leaders. I'm not speaking about Congress party post holders. I'm speaking about the deputy chief minister of a state. When a deputy chief minister of a state is present at a venue where such things have happened, where such things are continuing to happen, where people are stuck in such a situation, you need to act upon it. And that action did not come because the Congress party is busy in their own, in their own politics in the state, and they do not care about. And I also wish to raise the same Rahul Gandhi. Such a situation has happened. What has happened after that is even more shameful. The same Rahul Gandhi who comes forward to say anything and everything about our country in Operation Sindoor has not uttered a word. He is not speaking about anything. If a police action is being initiated on the organizers, go ahead and do it. But what about the action that has to be taken on the government?
Let me take
what about the action that has to be taken on the Deputy Chief Minister?
Deputy Chief Minister certainly has to be in the dock. He was there at the event. You can't deny that. And the event went on. He's celebrating. He's felicitating. Later, he's saying he's not aware of whether people were dying outside. This is not done. N.D. Mulla, former DCP crime in Karnataka police, so where do you think things went wrong? Because clearly the police didn't want these events to go on. We have some communication to suggest that while the organizers were asking for permission for June 4, the police was not forthcoming. Then how did everybody go ahead?
See, first of all, it was organized in a hurried manner. This is wrong. Police require sufficient time to consolidate the bandobast scheme. They do the rehearsal, all the points are taken into consideration, meetings are held, and then such an arrangement is made. Not that earlier this has not happened. It has happened when Dr. Rajkumar died. It was all of a sudden that it was not planned where the body should be taken and all that. But this time it was totally unexpected. Please note that it is said that in army and police nothing takes place according to scheme except parade. But with all that also, for any event of this magnitude, okay, all right, 2 lakh crowd was not expected, but 1 lakh also was a big crowd. Even if we expect 1 lakh, there was no single command. It was not organized in a manner it should have been organized. Every agency should have been taken into confidence. DNA, KSCA, RCB, government, police, and district administration. Everyone should have been taken into confidence, and it shouldn't have been done in that hurried manner. It was impossible. Earlier also, stampedes have taken place. And another thing, please note down, I must congratulate in a way that police have behaved. They have behaved very, very soberly.
Yes.
They have not used force anywhere. If they had used force, it was a celebrity crowd. The police has been very patiently tried to handle it, but it was impossible for the police to handle it because there was no organization, there was no command, there were no barricades properly put in, and the distance between Vidhana Soudha and Chinnaswamy Stadium was so short that it was just impossible. It couldn't have been handled that way. Understanding the crowd at Chinnaswamy, the procession should have been taken place a longer route, so that in the meanwhile the arrangements around Chinnaswamy could have been made. I'm not going to blame anyone for this. This sometimes happens, but precaution could have been taken.
No, but did people go ahead without if people went ahead without the
permission of the police?
Exactly. If people went ahead without the permission of the police, and that's a serious lapse. The government seems to be complicit in this. Otherwise, they couldn't have done it.
It is a breach of... No. There should have been a command, first single command. I mean, I am told that police themselves were under confusion whether it is taking place or not taking place. But they should have taken the advice of the police commissioner and done it. He is a very seasoned officer. Policemen are very seasoned. In Karnataka, particularly Bengaluru, we have handled such situations earlier, but time was given.
Okay.
I remember an incident when all of a sudden a CM's swearing in ceremony took place in Vidhana Soudha. Same frenzy took place, but the crowd was not that much. But you know, if anything is done without proper precautions, without proper schemes,
I think the cops are a
without proper
scapegoat as far as
bandobast,
this
these
episode
things
are
do
concerned.
happen.
Because the cops did their duty, but I don't think they were allowed to do their duty with the amount of time that they needed. And anybody blaming cops is only scapegoating them.
No.
Because it's humanly not possible for them to do what they were asked to do in such short amount of time.
Definitely.
Sonam, I want to come to you. You know, what is also not what is also not being missed is the fact that this RCB franchise is the one that hails its fanship the most in the IPL, for example. They talk about fans day in, day out. This whole thing, this whole celebration was about how fans have stuck with them for 18 years when they haven't won the title. But when all of this was unfolding, RCB officials unaware what had happened outside. They go ahead with the felicitations inside. 4 hours, 5 hours later, they make their first public announcement of a condolence, which is also wishy-washy. You know, no accountability of their own. Were they unaware what was happening?
At the very outset, Shivani, I would want to pay respects to people who've lost their lives, express condolences to the families who've lost their loved ones. I hope this entire thing doesn't become a footnote in a success story. That is how it is coming across right now. Talking about the RCB, I can understand their enthusiasm. I know how people have waited for almost 2 decades for this day. I won't blame them too much. I understand they've been a little insensitive, but only time will tell why that happened. I would want to stick to the governance issues as of now. I think the government or the government spokesman here saying that we did not see this coming does not absolve them of any responsibility, because given the significance of this victory, I think this was foreseeable and they should have seen this coming. I would also not blame the cops. Like Sir said, Bangalore police is known to be a very competent force, and had they been given proper notice and time, this wouldn't have happened. I would also want to draw a bit of attention to probably civic sense of we, the people of this country. I saw there were children there. I think you should avoid taking kids to places where, you know there can be crowd management issues. And no matter what the probe says in the end, I hope we take some systemic measures to basically remove these loopholes for good. I also see a lot of comparisons between, the usual politics. There are comparisons between Kumbh Mela and this particular event. There cannot be a comparison between a spontaneous cricket celebration and a religious gathering. Of course, one, it lacks context. Second, it also dismisses, the whole thing that when there is a religious gathering, the preparation happens for months. And it does not just happen in India. The congregations of other religions, if you see that happen globally, you see these challenges there as well.
No, but even for an event like this, Sonam, even for an event like this, when you know that fans are so eager to get a glimpse of the team, you're wanting to arrange a victory parade, which is not possible within 12 hours. These are also events that are done with adequate planning. You can't force it. That is the problem here. The organizers seemed to have forced this event.
I get it. And I'm not saying that they should have done this. But I also understand, being a Bangalorean, I know how it feels when RCB won. You should have seen how Bangalore was. It was almost, I don't know if I can even call it a mini Diwali, because I've not seen so many cracker bursting even on Diwali. It was a whole, different mood in Bangalore. And no celebration should end in mourning. But unfortunately, this has happened. And I would not want to, just do the blame thing like everybody else is doing. I hope the inquiry concludes in such a manner that there are also measures taken at the end of it, so that we can avoid such instances in future. And I fully understand when somebody says that Bangalore police was not given ample amount of time. And, they like Sir said, there was not one command. When there is miscommunication, the public also doesn't know who to pay heed to and who not to pay heed to. So there were lapses. And it's unfortunate that people are doing politics on this as well. I see the gentleman from the opposition when it comes to Karnataka. He's time and again, taking names, dropping Rahul Gandhi's name. I don't know what these people do. As a Bangalorean, this is our collective grief. And I'm really saddened by this whole thing because this was our moment. This came after almost like 2 decades. I remember going out so many times just to see this day, and we used to kind of, not make it
but
in the end.
But precisely because of that fanship, you need to be more responsible when you have that fanship. You can't do things willy-nilly. I'm sorry. I mean, it's exactly the fans who have suffered.
Can't really.
It's
no,
11
I can't
fans
really.
who have died, young people. But you talked about Siddharth. He wants to come in. Then I'll go across to Mr. Hegde as well. Yes, Siddharth.
Shivani, I think, we can't be doing justice to the entire episode if we cannot set the accountability. We can't just push it, in the bush by saying it was the fans. It was, we were too happy. We saw Bangalore like we never before. And so we lost, so many people, so many young lives. We can't be doing that. We can't be saying that the government did not have ample time. So probably, these things happen and these things just happen. These things have happened before, so this happens. We can't be doing this. Accountability has to be set because people's lives matter. Accountability has to be set because the people who lost their lives, may them be RCB fans, but were also the citizens of this country.
There has to be some responsibility in creating hysteria
so tough questions have to be asked.
No, there has to be responsibility when you create hysteria. Because if that hysteria goes out of hand, like it did for RCB's title, yes, it's a title. Yes, it's an iconic win. Yes, it came out of 18 years, but there has to be some measures taken before you can, create hysteria about it when you can't handle it. Yes, Mr. Hegde, you wanted to come in?
I completely agree with Mr. Siddharth Yadav. There's no question of shirking any responsibility. And I can guarantee you that accountability will be fixed, whether it is within the government or within the administration, or whether it's with the team management or the board. Accountability will be fixed. At this point, we can only take corrective measures. I know it's not enough and it cannot measure the loss of life, but we can only take corrective measures with respect to the same. And we have also come out with an SOP.
Why not concede to a judicial probe? Because a magistrate probe doesn't satisfy people's requirement for the government also to be held accountable.
So today already there has been a suo motu cognizance taken by the Karnataka High Court themselves, and they already have outlined what
could have done.
The court has already outlined what they will be looking into today about the accountability being fixed, or whether the precautionary measures were taken, what lapses occurred, and what caused this systemic lapse to occur. The court has already made.
Let's hope that accountability is indeed met, and not just at the lower level, but also at the very top. Because clearly, signals or green signals to hold these events and even be part of them came from the top echelons, not from bottoms up. I leave it at that. I thank our guests for joining us. Shifting to the other big story that we're tracking. Speaking at an event in Madhya Pradesh's Bhopal, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi took his attack on Prime Minister Modi and centre government to a whole new level when he alleged that the Prime Minister surrendered to Pakistan after Donald Trump's call to him during the conflict. This takes the earlier narrative that Trump negotiated a ceasefire between India and Pakistan one notch higher, or maybe many, to suggest that India surrendered after pounding more than 11 Pakistani air bases and almost completely neutralizing any threat from across the border is a new one. This is no longer just about scoring political brownie points, but about undermining India's success and entire Operation Sindoor. Despite the Indian government repeatedly clarifying that Pak DGMO called India for a ceasefire, a claim not denied by Pakistan, by the way, a claim not denied by US either, by the way, the Congress insists that India lost. On the issue of mediation alone, its own members, part of India's delegation, have repeatedly debunked US claims, or at least tried to bring a nuance into the issue. Manish Tiwari, congressman for example, said talking to both countries doesn't mean mediation. Shashi Tharoor, Congress MP, said that India doesn't need any persuasion to stop because we didn't want war to begin with. Salman Khurshid, another congressman, said Pak DGMO called Indian counterpart and said, let's stop. So what's really left to question? But Rahul Gandhi and other Congress leaders' claims have been strengthening the Pakistani claims of somehow managing a win against India. Rahul Gandhi's latest surrender attack at the Modi government has found backing in Pakistan. Pak media channels have now quoted his statements to target India. The remarks furthering Pak narrative, showing India in bad light. Rahul Gandhi's post questioning External Affairs Minister and calling him a traitor was carried by Pakistani media too. The BJP says Pakistani establishment is using Rahul Gandhi's statements in international forums to deflect attention from its own role. Pakistan ISPR showed a video of Rahul Gandhi and Satyapal Malik, for example, earlier to further push their fake narrative. A former Pakistan minister, Fawad Hussain, reshared Congress's Gayab social media post against the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which Congress belatedly removed from social media. Let's listen in to one such instance where the Pakistani media has again picked up what Rahul Gandhi said.
Narendra, surrender! Narendra, surrender!
अब देखें उसको उसका नाम जो है राहुल गांधी ने नरेंद्र सरेंडर रख दिया है। तो इससे ज़्यादा किसी नेशनल लीडर की जो है मिट्टी कितनी पलीद मैंने नहीं होते देखी कम से कम जो है कि एक लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन जो है उसको नरेंद्र सरेंडर जो है यानी एक एक्सेप्ट किया जा रहा है इंडिया में कि ये सरेंडर जो है ये मोदी ने एक किस्म का किया है।
What's interesting is that history versus Pakistan or even China is actually not favorable to several years of Congress rule, and especially directly Rahul Gandhi's family. Every time Congress says something about these two countries, its own history comes back to haunt them. Starting from 1947 itself, soon after partition, Pakistan-backed terrorists attacked Jammu and Kashmir. Nehru hesitated to get the Indian army involved, losing precious time. Even after that, he didn't militarily take back POK, but went to UN instead to negotiate a ceasefire. Under Nehru, India lost Aksai Chin to China. After ignoring intel on Chinese build-up and road construction, India refused international help at that time to claim back the area. Was this because of Nehru's overall romanticism with China? Nehru's speech during the 1962 Sino-Indian War was interpreted by many as conceding entire state of Arunachal Pradesh and even Assam after the fall of Bomdila. He said huge Chinese armies have been marching in the northern part of Nepal, now Arunachal Pradesh, especially our countrymen in Assam, to whom our heart goes out at this moment. After 1965 war against Pakistan, India's military gains included Haji Pir Pass, perched at over 2,600 meters in the formidable Pir Panjal range. India returns the militarily and strategically important Haji Pir to Pakistan. Similarly, even after the win in 1971, India had huge leverage with 93,000 Pak prisoners of war, but India gave them back without negotiating any permanent settlement of Kashmir. So with this surrender remark and the face-off that has ensued, with Pakistan using this remark, has Congress undermined India's win during Operation Sindoor?
Talking to both the countries or their interlocutors at a point in time when there is tension and obviously there is concern around the world does not really constitute mediation.
नरेंद्र, सरेंडर! और जी हजूर करके नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने ट्रंप के इशारे का पालन किया।
फिर से राहुल गांधी एलओपी का मतलब समझ बैठे हैं, लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन नहीं, लीडर ऑफ पाकिस्तानी प्रोपेगेंडा।
तो राहुल गांधी जी, आप, आपकी पार्टी और आपके खानदान के कारनामे आजाद हिंदुस्तान के कैलेंडरों में सरेंडर से भरे पड़े।
The Let's go across to our guest joining us. Siddharth Yadav, spokesperson of the BJP, continues to be with us. Arshpreet Kadial, Congress Party spokesperson, is also with us. Arshpreet, now Pakistani media is quoting what Rahul Gandhi has said about Narendra Modi or India surrendering and claiming Pakistani win. This is certainly not what the Congress Party wants, right?
See, number one, kindly allow me a minute, I'm interrupted. Number one, India wants to know from the Bharatiya Janata Party, why did Mr. Modi surrender to Donald Trump? When Donald Trump said, either you do a ceasefire, then there will be trade. If you do not do a ceasefire, then there will be no trade with you. Why did America get to announce the ceasefire first? Why did we announce it afterwards? Number three, we all want to know it from the Bharatiya Janata Party. Why is America being the big brother here, doing punchy and saying, what is to be done, what is not to be done? Why should India take the diktats of America? And Donald Trump has made this mention 11 times in 21 days. The Trump administration has submitted in Britain in a federal court. And Mr. Modi, Mr. Modi has done around 9 rallies in 8 days in 6 states. 8 days, 9 rallies, 6 states. But not once did he rebut what Donald Trump said. We know this, that Mr. Modi has in the last 11 years not done a single press conference, but this time it was important. This time it was important for him to stand up for India because he's the representative, he's our Prime Minister.
Okay,
but
I'll take what you're saying to our BJP representative.
Just 10 more seconds, please, Shivani.
Just 1 second. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. We have time. But I'll take what you're saying to the BJP representative. He'll respond to it. But I do want to ask you, as a representative of the Congress Party, how do you feel when Congress Party's leaders' statements get picked up in Pakistan? Because that then invites the criticism that Congress is emboldening the Pakistani narrative.
See, number one, we need to see things for the way they are, Shivani, because if the Bharatiya Janata Party's doings and the diplomacy had done us good, if it had taken our global standing upwards, then Canada would have not invited us for the summit, which is happening on
Come on,
June 15th.
Arshpreet, let's not do this.
Being invited.
Can I please get a straight answer to this? I gave you the opportunity.
No,
your
is this not an issue?
1 second.
Canada
your
is not even invited us.
I get that. Fair enough.
Us for the summit.
That doesn't mean that you should give ammunition to Pakistan. That doesn't mean that your leaders should give ammunition to Pakistan.
1 second. Now, talking of your question.
Yes.
Who went unannounced for Nawaz Sharif's granddaughter's wedding? Who went there and had Kashmiri chai? Who had biryani there against all protocols? Sat in the chopper. Number two, it is a matter of fact, Shivani, that Russia has just signed a billion-dollar deal with Pakistan. Gulf countries are signing deals with Pakistan. Other countries are. Tell me one country, the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson sitting here, who's openly come out in our support. The reason as to why others aren't because you failed at a foreign diplomacy and people are the country.
That doesn't mean that Indian politicians should help what Pakistan is saying. What is patently false. They did not win this war, this conflict. They did not win this conflict. India won this conflict militarily. We shouldn't be undermining what the Indian military achieved. That's the limited point. You've got your time. Let Siddharth Yadav come in. Siddharth Yadav, the point is, no, 1 second. No, 1 second. Siddharth, I don't want to mute your fader. Please don't do this. You've got enough time. Siddharth, the problem is that as long as you don't clarify, or at least the Prime Minister doesn't clarify why Donald Trump is making these claims directly, because he's the authority, these barbs will keep coming.
Shivani, first of all, what has to be understood is that the question that you asked my friend Arshdeep was about why the opposition of the current currently in our country is saying what Pakistan wants to hear. What he was replying was a rhetoric the Congress Party has prepared, a speech that the Congress Party has prepared, and they just go on asking the same questions despite them being answered. And I will answer for your viewers and for my friend Arshdeep this time. I think he should understand. Point number one, our DGMO clarified, our defense, our air chief, our navy chief clarified, our foreign ministry clarified, we did not surrender. I repeat it, Arshdeep, we did not surrender. You do not want to believe the DGMO, you do not want to believe the officers from the foreign ministry who make this categorical statement, who gave out how we destroyed their 9 air bases, what we did in 22 minutes, what we did when Pakistan tried to retaliate, what was the precision of the strike that was done by our country. You do not want to believe that? Do whatever you want to. But this is the reality. This you have to understand. Point number one. Point number two. Our foreign minister on foreign soil, talking to foreign media, which gets telecasted directly to the White House, has made it very categorically clear it was a dialogue between two countries. There was no mediation at all. When we make such categorical statements, the Congress party doesn't want to believe it, because you want to score the local brownie points, the local political scores. You are settling scores in India when India is battling a narrative war across the country. When we are going to the country, different countries in the world, trying to expose what Pakistan is doing, Rahul Gandhi is sitting here and making statements which are being repeated by their Prime Minister. You are saying what is being repeated in their National Assembly. You are saying which is being quoted in their dossiers to the United Nations. Is this what the Rahul Gandhi wants? And that is why we say, and we say with utmost responsibility, that
the DGMO has indeed said that what US President Donald Trump said is incorrect. What more do you want? You say you believe the military, but you don't believe the military.
I'll tell you what I want. Please allow me a minute and interrupt. It's one request. What we want is for our Prime Minister to rebut. What we want is for our Prime Minister to do a press conference. Has he forgotten the meaning of a press conference? Has he forgotten to take questions? In a democracy,
you shouldn't bring down India's victory in Operation Sindoor. No, there has to be a way of asking questions. No, Arshpreet, saying that the Prime Minister of the country surrendered, just so that you can coax him into doing a press conference.
Allow me to please complete. Allow me to please. Being the Prime Minister, it was his duty to attend the all-party meeting. He skipped that. He went for a campaign in Bihar.
This is not the way to settle those scores.
Shivani, if you would not allow me to complete, I can't.
You're repeating the same thing. You're repeating the same thing. My question to you was that the DGMO has already clarified. Can I also say, if Arshpreet, once again, if Arshpreet has a point that the Prime Minister has, once again, sir, just lower his finger. If Arshpreet has a point that the Prime Minister has not countered what US President Donald Trump said, can I also point out, several arms of Indian government and military have said what he has said is incorrect. Has anyone in US rebutted it? Has anyone in Pakistan said, no, they are wrong? No, they haven't. So why are you putting India in a position where we have to continually defend ourselves? Aren't you seeing what we're doing?
Allow me to now complete. As far as putting India on the back foot, it is for the Bharatiya Janata Party to tell why did they surrender. It is for the Bharatiya Janata Party to tell why did Mr. Jaishankar
Shivani, what is this?
Give in advance.
Shivani, give me 10 seconds.
Okay, I only have 10 seconds.
I'll quit the debate.
I only have 10 seconds. 10 seconds to Znata.
I think I cannot explain to Arshdeep Kadia it means to be in the opposition, but I want your viewers to go out and read what was the action of the leader of opposition Atal Bihari Vajpayee in '94 Geneva. When we were in opposition, we represented the country. We fought there against the resolution of Pakistan. We went that down. Now the LOP is doing what Pakistan wants. This is the
well, there are other opposition leaders who are, of course, taking the government's narrative to the world. I do thank our guests for joining us. And speaking of those delegations that actually went to various countries, Rajiv Rai, Lok Sabha MP from the Samajwadi Party, he was part of the delegation that visited Spain, Greece, Slovenia, Latvia and Russia, is now joining us. Mr. Rai, thanks a lot for your time. First of all, how successful do you think you were in taking India's message to the world?
We are carrying a message of 1.4 billion Indians, and we said in no uncertain terms that we have we have resolved ourselves. There is a sense in our India that any more terrorist activity from the land of Pakistan will not be targeted by us. So better you people, you cannot make a difference that if it happens in India, it is between India and Pakistan. If it happens elsewhere, then it is a terrorist activity. And messages are very loud and clear. End of the day, we got assurance from those countries wherever we visited that they are with us in the fight against the terrorism. Now, having said so, this remains for the government to take it forward from here and try to corner Pakistan as much as possible.
Fair enough. But domestically, as I was just discussing, Rajiv Rai, there's been a lot of politics on the message that India is giving, message like delegate members like you were giving. In India, Rahul Gandhi, for example, is claiming that India surrendered under the pressure of Donald Trump. But that's not the message that you took to the world. So is this domestic politics going out of hand?
See, it's from both the sides. It's not, you can't point out. Maybe I agree with you that better words should have been chosen. But the best thing should have been if all of us have been saying from the day one, 1962, that Indo-China war, and then Atal Bihari Vajpayee requested for the special session, it was called. It should have been discussed all there and clear the doubts. But even you did not like, I did not like, none of we 1.4 billion people like that we came to know this news from Trump's post on X. I mean, we should have heard this from our own government. I think, but having said so, we should all keep in mind national is supreme. We should not speak anything where our enemy will get a chance to exploit that sentence or word.
No, so there can be differences, of course, Mr. Rai. But, you know, what we saw during the delegations is that parties like yourself from the Samajwadi Party, there's DMK, there is NCP, even Congress leaders who were part of these delegations, Asaduddin Owaisi from the AIMIM, you all did a very stellar job, regardless of party lines and regardless of domestic politics. You all stuck to your message and did a fabulous...
They were representing India.
Yes. No, absolutely. So you did that job.
There is no party that we are representing India. There is India. Nothing. India is first. National interest, national security, national pride is supreme. Politics can be avoided when it comes to. But I squarely blame government also for not this thing is special session of the parliament. They should have called so immediately. And the country has the right. We elected representatives. We have the right to discuss. Maybe we can give better idea to the government. Why? What is that government is avoiding? When then Atal Bihari Vajpayee was right, then why today, if opposition is demanding for this special session, we are wrong? Why this double standard? And why we should point out on others' fault only? Why government should not take up the responsibility? I mean, okay, that's fine. And what the government has done with the what BJP minister and deputy chief minister have spoken, the least they could have done is, if they are so much concerned about the national they should have sacked those ministers and deputy CM. So, I mean, finding fault with the opposition is always not good. But still, I would say you should have chosen a better word for Prime Minister.
Exactly. I was going to ask you only this last question, Rajiv Rai. 30 seconds. Politics can be done and questions can be asked, but surely it can be done in a manner that it doesn't undermine India's success or message.
It is applicable to everybody, not only for opposition. It is applicable to BJP and BJP ministers and BJP officials also. It is applicable to all of them.
You're saying
you know very well what the BJP minister and deputy CM spoke about the our lady officers. Let us not this thing. The onus is on all of us, be it the ruling party or opposition, to keep India ahead of all our petty politics.
All right, I'll leave it at that. Rajiv Rai, thanks a lot for joining us. On that note, it's a wrap on Plain Speak. The Right Stand is coming up next.
Brought to you by... This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Checks at major Indian airports. Concerns have been raised over the airline's adherence to international and domestic aviation standards. Inspections took place in Hyderabad, Chennai, Delhi and Bengaluru. These inspections found that cargo classified as dangerous goods did not have the required permissions from the DGCA for transportation of explosives to and from India. These permissions were neither attached nor referenced in the Dangerous Goods Declaration, which is a significant lapse that was identified at the Bengaluru airport, where the marshaller responsible to guide the aircraft during taxiing was found untrained. Civil Aviation Ministry has now asked Turkish Airlines to address these findings promptly and ensure full compliance with standards and recommendation practices. Anvit now joins us, getting us more details. Anvit, what does this mean for the future of the airlines? Is there any response coming in from Turkish Airlines to these queries that have been raised by the DGCA?
See, no response as such, but the DGCA guidelines are very strict when it comes to dangerous goods, which has recently been found on the Turkish planes that had landed at the 4 of the airports in Delhi, major airports in India. And the guidelines very clearly say that the laid down procedures they should determine that as far as possible that the associated documentation of the aircraft that is carrying such goods should meet all norms. It has been found that the goods, that undeclared dangerous goods that was on board one of the Turkish Airlines plane, that had not been declared, and it had not been, the competent authorities had not been informed about it. In fact, one of the violations, grave violations, is also that the marshaller competency. Marshalers are basically staff who guide the plane when it is on ground. Their job is to safely and efficiently guide an aircraft when it is grounded. And it was also found at the Bengaluru airport that the marshaller handling ground operations, they lack proper authorization and valid competency for marshalling functions. And in fact, if we talk about the Hyderabad and airport, at both Hyderabad and Bengaluru airport, where Globe Grounds India was providing ground services, it was also found that without formal handover from Celebi, against which the Indian government had recently taken action, it was found that no service level agreement, that is SLA, was in place between Turkish Airlines and its ground handling agent. So these are grave violations that have been noticed in a surprise inspection that was carried out by DGC between 29th May and 2 June. And this was safety oversight and RAP inspection that was conducted at 4 airports: Delhi, Hyderabad, Chennai and Bengaluru. And some grave violations have come before, against which Turkish Airlines officially has not commented so far, but these are important in the wake of the recent comment that Turkey had made, supporting Babri attacks in Pahalgam, and also the aftermath thereafter that had happened, that tourists from India had boycotted traveling to Turkey. Then Celebi's contract was also terminated. So following that, it certainly is an important development as far as India-Turkey relations are concerned.
Right, Anvit, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. Checks at major Indian airports. Concerns have been raised over the airline's adherence to international and domestic aviation standards. Inspections took place in Hyderabad, Chennai, Delhi and Bengaluru. These inspections found that cargo classified as dangerous goods did not have the required permissions from the DGCA for transportation of explosives to and from India. These permissions were neither attached nor referenced in the Dangerous Goods Declaration, which is a significant lapse that was identified at the Bengaluru airport, where the marshaller responsible to guide the aircraft during taxiing was found untrained. Civil Aviation Ministry has now asked Turkish Airlines to address these findings promptly and ensure full compliance with standards and recommendation practices. Anvit now joins us, getting us more details. Anvit, what does this mean for the future of the airlines? Is there any response coming in from Turkish Airlines to these queries that have been raised by the DGCA?
See, no response as such, but the DGCA guidelines are very strict when it comes to dangerous goods, which has recently been found on the Turkish planes that had landed at the 4 of the airports in Delhi, major airports in India. And the guidelines very clearly say that the laid down procedures, they should determine that as far as possible that the associated documentation of the aircraft that is carrying such goods should meet all norms. It has been found that the goods, that undeclared dangerous goods that was on board one of the Turkish Airlines plane, that had not been declared, and it had not been, the competent authorities had not been informed about it. In fact, one of the violations, grave violations, is also that the marshaller competency. Marshalers are basically staff who guide the plane when it is on ground. Their job is to safely and efficiently guide an aircraft when it is grounded. And it was also found at the Bengaluru airport that the marshaller handling ground operations, they lack proper authorization and valid competency for marshalling functions. And in fact, if we talk about the Hyderabad and airport, at both Hyderabad and Bengaluru airport, where Globe Grounds India was providing ground services, it was also found that without formal handover from Celebi, against which the Indian government had recently taken action, it was found that no service level agreement, that is SLA, was in place between Turkish Airlines and its ground handling agent. So these are grave violations that have been noticed in a surprise inspection that was carried out by DGC between 29th May and 2 June. And this was safety oversight and RAP inspection that was conducted at 4 airports: Delhi, Hyderabad, Chennai and Bengaluru. And some grave violations have come before, against which Turkish Airlines officially has not commented so far, but these are important in the wake of the recent comment that Turkey had made, supporting Babri attacks in Pahalgam, and also the aftermath thereafter that had happened, that tourists from India had boycotted traveling to Turkey. Then Celebi's contract was also terminated. So following that, it certainly is an important development as far as India-Turkey relations are concerned.
Right, Anvit, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front.
This is News 18 Network. India's India's largest news network.
Checks at major Indian airports. Concerns have been raised over the airline's adherence to international and domestic aviation standards. Inspections took place in Hyderabad, Chennai, Delhi and Bengaluru. These inspections found that cargo classified as dangerous goods did not have the required permissions from the DGCA for transportation of explosives to and from India. These permissions were neither attached nor referenced in the dangerous goods declaration, which is a significant lapse that was identified at the Bengaluru airport, where the marshaller responsible to guide the aircraft during taxiing was found untrained. Civil Aviation Ministry has now asked Turkish Airlines to address these findings promptly and ensure full compliance with standards and recommendation practices. Anvit now joins us, getting us more details. Anvit, what does this mean for the future of the airlines? Is there any response coming in from Turkish Airlines to these queries that have been raised by the DGCA?
See, no response as such, but the DGCA...
Good evening, you're watching The Right Stand with me, Poonam Burde. It was meant to be a celebration, a victory parade to mark the end of an 18-year drought for the RCB. Little did the team's fans know, while that some of them watched their team's victory lap inside the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru, some others were gasping for breath outside, rushing their loved ones to hospitals and hoping against hope that they would survive this nightmare. 11 lives lost in the tragedy, the stampede outside the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru yesterday as the crowd surged, waiting to be let in. There were 35,000 passes that were issued, all free of cost, all advertised even by the franchise. The venue was already at full capacity hours before the team was even expected there. But many people rushed to the stadium hoping for an opportunity to be let inside. Now, the Bengaluru police has registered an FIR against the state cricketing body and Royal Challengers Bangalore. But can they shirk responsibility? Can the state government get away by saying this was not our event? After all, while the stampede was taking place outside, inside the stadium, members of the ruling party, including the Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister, were all posing with